All right, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay, well, a little bit about my dad. He worked for a company called Celanese. He was employed in 1965, uh, back when asbestos wasn't controlled. And throughout those years, he worked construction for, well, all of his life, actually. He went from a laborer, from a boiler maker, insulator, all the way up to part owner of the same company uh, at the end of his career. Uh, Back in February, no, I guess it was, I don't recall the date exactly. Um, Dad was declining in weight, and I was able to take him to finally force him to go to a doctor, and uh, we found out that he was diagnosed with mesothelioma. Prior to all of this, he was affected by asbestos throughout those years. He did have asbestosis, but then he was diagnosed with mesothelioma. Upon finding out that he was diagnosed, he told me, that's it. He said, this is the end. You need to find a team. You need to find an attorney to represent us. And I did a whole lot of research. I researched the internet, called people, and the same name kept coming up, and it was Shrader. Um, I then made a phone call to Shrader and told them all about my dad, and they asked me if I would like to go to Houston, and I told them that Dad was getting pretty sick, and I needed somebody to come to my house. Um, I believe it was the following morning. I had one of the attorneys come to my door and identified himself as being part of Shrader, which is a young man by the name of Ross Stomo. And that's where it started. It started by me asking all the questions and they having all the answers. I researched a lot of law firms. It wasn't just one, because my dad had been handed a death sentence, and I needed to find somebody that was going to represent us, that was going to care about what we were doing here. Um, and they became family. Shrader became family. I actually was able to travel with them, and I was at several depositions. They took care of my father for approximately 5 months, from being diagnosed and being represented. They take care of Dad. Um, they took him to depositions. They they took care of him when I wasn't with Dad. Shrader took care of him. Uh, Dad had several defendants, probably in the upper 20s or 30s. So you can just imagine the depositions that took place. Uh, I I wouldn't recommend anybody else. I really wouldn't, and primarily because I felt like Shrader was family. I uh, I I was at their office. I got to meet the partners. I got to meet Brad. Brad was one of the attorneys that represented my dad, and was with him the whole time from beginning to the very end. Uh, Dad was gone after we went to court. Dad had finished all the depositions before he passed in February of 2022, and it continued. The lawsuits continued, and we continued to fight. And long and behold, one of the defendants didn't want to settle, didn't want to pay for what they had done, and so that was the last. That was the last one that we had in Claiborne County, where it went our way at the very end. But you know, I often think about Shrader, and I think about all the time I spent with him and the time that they took care of my father. And I'm very grateful. I am. Very grateful. So hard to talk about. But still today, even after 8 years has gone by, 9 years, I still get visits from the attorneys. I still get visits from Shrader at my doorstep, even 8 years later. And I'm very appreciative. Thank you.